Hello everybody, this is Tempest here. I'm giving a review on Divinity Original Sin 2. After about 50 hours playing through the main storyline, I'm excited to finally share my thoughts on the story. I hope you enjoy. Divinity Original Sin 2 is an incredible game. It's an RPG open world game with extremely customizable characters that can literally allow you to do almost anything you want in the game, whether it be a thief that sneaks around and does very subtle reconnaissance, or you could just be an all-out brawler fighter that just kills everything in its path. Diplomacy, negotiation, bartering, those are just a few concepts that you can use to explore the game in your own personal narrative, however that may be. All kinds of characters that you get to discover have huge backstories, and characters that you meet later you learn about very early on, such as Justina, who's the Queen of the Doors. And I just really like this game a lot. The concept itself really adds a ton of secrets that you may miss out on the first time you play through the game. So it really adds a depth to replayability with the game, so you can keep going over and over again. The biggest issue that people seem to run into, and what I ran into, and you can see this as a pro or a con, but it's in the discovery process, because the Larian Studios doesn't explain, how to do combat or where the main storyline is. Really, this is all open-ended, and the only thing that you have to work off is your mini-map. You've got little flags. The red ones are considered the main story, and the yellow ones are like significant side quests or points of interest. But you can also add your own markers as well. Oh, and the other part is your journal. So you have a journal or a diary that you can collect information as you have discussions with other NPCs that you can fill in the blanks. So those are the only two ways that you can really kind of fall back on previous knowledge and figure out, well, where do I go next? So that was my biggest challenge in playing the game. The entertainment function is so huge. So the very beginning of the game, you're very limited in what you can do. You're a prisoner, and you got to find a way to escape the island, which is Fort Joy, and how you do it is all up to you, like I was saying earlier about having that flexibility. But as you get further into the game, you open up more tools to get things done. Like I was saying, there's just a ton of really great fun characters to play with. This little clip from the City of Arcs and toward the end of the game is just really funny because, all these NPCs have their own things to say, and this one guy just kept saying the same thing over and over and over, and I just found it hilarious. She like the news person.
I'm a lover. Void woken attacks increase. Citizens warned to be alert. Hear ye, hear. Kraken sighted at sea. Several ships missing. Hear ye, hear. Friendly Gilbert publishes latest edition. New book. Hear ye, hear. Trouble brewing in the ancient empire. Hear ye. Suspected Alexander murder found dead. Hear ye.
Oh my god.
Justinia confronts rebel factions. War. Hear ye. Lucian's day arrives. Hope the novel without sin. Hear ye.
She finally said something else.
She sticks her tongue out at you, then gets...
Hear ye, Magister's rooted. Lord Kem's paladins, hear ye, hear. Dwarven wedding interrupted by void woken. Brave, hear ye, Magister's colluded with black, hear ye.
But on that note, you also get to decide how you want to talk to NPCs as well, and there's a persuasion modifier, so sometimes you can avoid battles and just kind of play the pacifist role, or you can get other NPCs to join your team or do whatever else you want them to do. Another big part of the game is just the beautiful scenery and amazing spell effects and interactions with the different environmental and character abilities. There's no two avatars that share the same design, and every single person is super unique. With all the different races that are out there, whether it be the undead, the elves, dwarves, humans, and the lizard folk, there's just so much diversity, and it's just really, really great to see out there. And The coolest part, in my opinion, is the voiceover work. All of the characters have voices. You can talk to any NPC and they'll have a voiceover for that person. And not just limit it to the 5 races, but there's a whole other section of the game devoted to animals talking, and I'm just like blown away by how in-depth.
Ooh, I bit the master Kim, I did. I could have sworn it was another man in a master suit, but it weren't. Now I'm in the doghouse like the human say.
Oh, you meant no
I
harm.
couldn't help it. I swear, it came all smelled like when the garden man cuts down a decades. Only nudging and tail wag the next time, I promise.
And this game is hilarious. There's so much comedy, and there's so much like epic adventures and stuff. Like the game is just so much fun. And on that note, talking about the playability and combat, there's so much strategy and tactical like moves that you can make. Now, when I played through the game, I played on exploratory mode because I really just wanted to focus on the storyline, but you can up the difficulty all the way up to like tactician, and you really got to think about the spells and the ground and the other inanimate objects like oil barrels that can explode into fire, and there's just a lot of like thinking involved in the game, for lack of a better word. In addition to that, one thing that really makes me want to replay the game is you can replay it with friends and control multiple characters together. So you kind of form like a 4-man party, and you all have your own individual plays, but you got to work together, and that adds a lot of social fun to the factor. Not only is there the replay with friends, but there's also more secrets that you may have missed the first time, and there's even a game master function built in, so if you wanted to create your own D&D scenario, there's an option for that as well. And finally, yeah, the sound is just really great. I love the soundtrack to this game. In fact, one of my favorite pieces is right after you defeat the evil demon. For me, Losi had a wonderful lute song that I'm gonna play for you right now. Busting out that lute. Let's clap to join in the music, eh?
Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, I'll sing.
Divinity Studios. It's like an S+++. It's been so much fun to do, you know? Just bust out the melody. And who knew the voice actors could sing so well? Like, now I'm gonna go onto YouTube and like download these tracks and like use them for study music. Encore! Encore! And it's moments like these that just really, really kind of inspire and encourage and make me feel good about myself. And we would be remiss without mentioning that the progression is like a huge function of the game. Being able to continue to level up your skills and to gain new items and armor and just kind of watch the growth of your characters is super fun to follow. I won't really get the most out of it and to understand kind of like the backstory. You want to do those side quests and really kind of pump into that. Give this game a chance if you're looking for a new game, especially an RPG, and play with your friends, guys. Play with your friends. It's definitely worth it. Finally, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would have to give this a 9.5. The only complaint I had for the entire game was just the lack of tutorials or directions on where to go next. I spent so many hours kind of lost just walking around in circles. And then just a small bug that bothered me was the auto following of my characters. If there was like fire in the pathway that I had to walk through, all 3 of the other guys behind me would just not go through the fire, and that kind of drove me insane.